Hello everyone, it's Katie again, and with me today is my assistant Grace. This is my daughter. So we are at my home gym in Iowa City, I-Corps Boxing. So Grace also trains here with me with 3 of her brothers, and I wanted to do a series of videos on the basics of boxing because the motto here at I-Corps Boxing is for everyone. So the goal of I-Corps Boxing is that boxing should be a sport that is accessible to everyone of all skill levels and in all commitment levels. Not everybody wants to get in a big ring like we've got over here and compete, but there's a variety of equipment in here that can be utilized for fitness and just being healthy. So one of the most basic and fundamental things that any boxer would tend to have is a jump rope. So this is my own personal jump rope. This is actually made by a company called CrossFit, so it's actually for people who do CrossFit stuff. I'm not into CrossFit, but I like it. I like a little bit heavier jump rope. A lot of the boxing jump ropes tend to be very light, but the main reason I bought it is that the handles swivel. If I can get this out of the way.
Can I show they snap off?
So that swivel is very easy and allows the jump rope to go around and not tangle up or twist as you're jumping. So when I first started jumping rope, I had a lot of trouble with ropes that would tangle and twist as I was jumping. So I switched to something where this can rotate infinitely and it's never going to bind up or twist. So Grace, if you want to go ahead and just kind of give a quick demonstration of jumping rope. So this is a good warm-up for anybody who is getting into boxing, learning to get on your feet, get on your toes, be nimble. Excellent work. Good job. All right, so I'm not going to go through all the warm-up exercises that we typically do here at the gym. Everything from jumping jacks to lunges and squats, core work. There's a lot of stuff that we do in a typical warm-up, but jump rope is really one of the only things as a warm-up exercise that you need special equipment for. Everything else is calisthenics type body weight stuff that you can do anywhere. You can do it in your living room, you can do it in your backyard. We've got mats here on the floor, but it's accessible basically anywhere. The jump rope, on the other hand, is something that you need to go buy one, unless you're at a gym like this where we do have jump ropes that people can use. So the next thing I'm going to look at, and this is great for warming up your arms, is off here to the side.
Speed bags.
We've got some speed bags, as Grace just pointed out. So this is really, it's a fun and useful tool for developing hand-eye coordination and also just for warming up the arms. I like to do this after I've warmed up my lower body. Maybe I've done like some core stuff, maybe some push-ups, and I'll come over here and I'll just work this thing just to warm up the arms. So this is on a pivot. It spins around, it swings in all different directions. So this is really about timing and coordination. It's not about power. This isn't something you're going to be using to become the next knockout artist or something. This is about feeling where your hands are in relation to your body and the timing and rhythm. So there's a variety of tricks and things people do with speed bags. You can look up videos on the internet where people are using their elbows and getting the bag to do all kinds of crazy things. I'm just going to go over this very simple, basic technique that most people are going to learn as they're starting off. So what you're going to do, like most speed bags have like a label on it. That's roughly about where you want to be hitting this. And so you'll hit this, and it's going to come up bounce back, come back and bounce once more. So it's a 1, 2, 3, then it bounces back and you hit it again. Now as you're hitting it, you want your arm roughly level or close to it, with your elbow up, and you're going to be making a small circle with your arm. So as I hit this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So just be consistent in hitting that over and over and over in the same spot. So it's just a very basic 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sounds very fast when I'm saying it, but as you're doing it with your hand, it's really not that fast. So just getting it with each hand. So I did it with my right hand, now I'll switch to my left. So very simple. So get used to doing it with one hand, do it with the other hand. Then you start getting more advanced and you start learning to switch hands. So right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
There's one more thing I should point out. If there's no label, like right about here under where the stitches are, is where it's at.
Okay, so Grace is just pointing something out. I don't know if the microphone picked it up. So what she's saying is if the speed bag doesn't have a label on it, most have a seam where you tie the bag together on top of the air bladder. And so she was pointing out you could hit it right below there. So that's another good thing. Thank you, Grace. So once you get the basics of one hand, the other hand, switching hands, you can start adding in things like, being on your toes. Being a little more active. You can start adding speed, you can go faster. This bag's kind of hard to go fast because it's big and heavy. But it's kind of the basis of the speed bag. It's great for warming up your arms. Do like a couple 3-minute rounds, warm up the arms, get the shoulders and triceps and forearms and wrists and everything warmed up. So then another tool that I like to use that I'm going to move to the further back in the gym So this is called a double end bag. So the reason it's called double end is it's got cables coming out at each end. It's anchored at the floor. It's anchored up top. It's got these stretchable cables on it, so it's got some spring to it. And I didn't bring my gloves over here. I'll do this without gloves. You can go grab my gloves?
Yeah.
You're not going to hurt your hands hitting this without gloves, but I usually wear gloves just because I like to have the extra weight from the gloves on my hands so that I'm getting the actual feel of wearing 16-ounce gloves, which is what I train with. Here she comes. All right, thank you, Grace. Can you hold on to this one for a second?
Yes.
So these are my gloves that I train with. These are Hayabusa S4s. I'm not paid by Hayabusa or anything, so. But the reason I like them is they got this fairly rigid wrist support in it, so it's a little less likely that you're going to tweak your wrist and have an injury while you're training. It's not impossible, but it does kind of mitigate that a little bit. These are just Velcro wraps. Obviously, you're not going to be doing competition with Velcro wraps, but we're just training. They work great. What's that?
I could put that on.
Oh, that's all right. So speed bag, again, it's really a tool about coordination, timing, rhythm, and there's different sizes. This is a really big one. So it's gonna move a little slower, but you just get used to the timing. Maybe learn to kind of get your head off the center line as you're throwing shots. You know, just throw the jab for 3 minutes. This is another good warm-up exercise. This is something I might do after I do speed bag. So then you get used to throwing the cross. And then you can start working into throw both hands. Maybe throw a hook in there. Throwing hooks on a speed bag is very different. So throw some straight shots, then a hook. Now you notice that now it's starting to swing around like in a circle. You throw an uppercut. So it's going to move in different ways depending on how you hit it. And of course, you can be moving around. As you work a dumbbell and bag. So it's a very versatile tool. It's very simple, but it's effective. So you can work head movement. You can be active with your feet. You can throw all kinds of different shots on it. It's not going to fly around and be problematic to the people around you as you're training. What's that? It's like catching a bird? Why is that? Because it's always moving? And yeah. Yep, so it is kind of like catching a bird. All right, so I think we'll move back up front where there's a little more room.
Can I carry it?
Yep. Spin this around. All right, you want to help demonstrate? Okay, so Grace said she wanted to help demonstrate the different stances. So, why don't you show us neutral stance? So that's boxing stance. Come on.
Oh, wait.
So neutral stance is just your feet are, you know, about shoulder width apart. They're not staggered. You're just in a line. So we don't fight from this stance because it's hard to keep your balance when your feet are in a line. But it's good to learn basic things from it. Whether you're right-handed or left-handed, you can learn how to put your guard up. This is, you know, one of the first things you learn is defense, protect the temples, the teeth, and the torso. Protect all that, learn how to use your hands and your arms to protect the vital organs, things like that. Then if you want to show boxing stance, so one foot's going to come forward. So typically, so I'm an orthodox fighter. My right hand is my power hand. So your power hand goes to the rear, and then the other foot and the other side of your body comes slightly forward. And so one thing you'll notice with me is I square up a lot more. A lot of other people are turned more like this. I use a stance that's more oriented toward the peekaboo style, so that's kind of why that's happening with me. So you get your boxing stance. So then every gym and every coach is going to have their own way of numbering punches. Now here we've got a poster up on the wall that has 1 through 12. There's 12 basic punches that we throw. So the most basic punch that everybody's going to learn usually first is the jab. So here, the number that we call it here is a 7. So if I say, Grace, can you please show us 7?
7.
Yep, so we're going to do that 7. Then come back to the home position with your guard up. Then the next punch you typically learn after a jab is kind of the mirror image, the cross. So here we call that a 2. So after we throw the jab and come back, we can throw the cross. So we want to make sure that our hips are turning as we punch. Good form. Come back. So that's your basic straight punches. And then we can add in lower versions of that. So like a body jab, we call that a 9 here. So it's going to be lower, like that. Or a body cross is an 8 here. So come down, throw it like that. And come back. So basic straight punches, whether high or low, we want to make sure our hips are turning as we're throwing the punch. We're getting full extension, and that we always come back home. So once you get past the basic straight punches,
Can I say something?
what's that?
If you're not home, somebody might rob you.
Did you hear that? If you're not home, somebody might rob you. I bet you heard that from the coach.
Mm-mm.
No? Well, we should tell him. So if you're not home defending your castle, somebody's going to rob that castle. So very good, Grace.
It's funny when pots and cookies.
All right, so once we get the basics of the straight punches, we move on to the hooking shots. So you got your basic lead hook. So with a hook, we want straight across. Now there's 2 versions. You can have your palm facing down or palm facing in. Either one is correct. Different people have different preferences. I like to throw it palm facing me. I know my coach likes to throw it palm facing down. Different strokes for different folks, it's fine. What's important is good form. So from your boxing stance, that hip's gonna rotate, that arm's gonna come straight across, and throw the hook. Then come back home. So that's your lead hook, then your rear hook, mirror image. Come back home. So then you got hooks to the body. So come down in, hook to the body. Then you've got uppercuts. So an uppercut is really just a more vertical version of a hook. It's the same turning motion, turned, more vertical. So an uppercut to the body is going to be coming in almost at an angle.
Are we going to talk about telegramming?
Oh, telegraphing? We can talk about that. First we'll get through the different punches. So you got the hooks to the body, and then you got versions of it that come in the center, right in the solar plexus. And then you've got uppercuts that come all the way up and hit the head. So Mike Tyson made that very famous. His uppercuts were quite phenomenal. So those, obviously, you want to get a little bit of a bend in your legs and throw it straight up the center. Right. And then go on to the rear hand, straight up, hit him in the chin. It'll be a very powerful shot. So then you got your overhand shots, which is really just a hook coming down from an angle. So you're gonna come in like that, like that.
And you get wraps on just like you.
Yeah, she's pointing out I got wraps on. So overhand shots can be used in a lot of different ways, but they're great for shorter fighters. Or if you want to come toward me, so she's a lot shorter than me. And if you squat down a little bit, like you're fighting, my head's way up here, and my shots are going to be up here. without her standing up and exposing her head to more danger, she can come in with an overhand shot and hit me in the head. Now, please don't hit me hard. So go ahead, just very lightly, and hit me with an overhand right. So those are the basic shots that before you ever get on a heavy bag, this is a water bag back here, you can learn these without any punching bags, no equipment, and you can just shadow box. You can be at home, in your bedroom, in your basement, in your backyard, in the garage. And you can practice all these shots. You can even add maybe like some hand weights. 1-2 pounds makes a big difference. Nah, we don't need that. So Grace wanted me to talk about telegraphing. So what is telegraphing? It's moving in such a way that it communicates to your opponent what you're about to do. So let's say I'm going to throw that lead hook. Okay? Telegraphing would be loading up so they see you wind up like this and then come like that.
They can get it right here.
Right.
Because they know you're going to do that.
Or if I'm going to throw that right cross, loading up or pulling back before I throw the cross. So you do want to be careful about that. I think that's a little more advanced. I would get the basics down before I start worrying about telegraphing, but it is something that as you're practicing your form and your technique, be aware, are you doing things that in a real boxing competition would signal to your opponent what you're about to do? So for this video, I'm going to leave out the bags and all the things that probably seem a little more exciting because that's a little more advanced. You know, any good coach is going to want people to just be doing fundamentals, shadow boxing, without any impact on their wrists or shoulders, so they get the hang of the basic stuff before they go hit something that weighs 120 or more pounds and sprain their wrist or damage their shoulder. Because you can get hurt very quickly in boxing, even doing very basic things. You notice I got a knee brace on. I'm in my 40s, and just doing what we do here, I've been having some knee problems, so now I got this brace. So take form seriously, learn to do things right. And this video is not to take the place of a coach, it's just to encourage you as, you know, maybe somebody who's interested in boxing or maybe has just started and had like their first lesson, to feel that it's okay to be at the level you're at and to learn the basics. Because nobody starts out as a pro, nobody starts out as an Olympic champion, and not everybody wants to become those things. Maybe you just want to lose some weight, you just want to get fitter, you want to get stronger. That's great. Boxing is fantastic for that. And there's no shame in saying, I'm a boxer, even if you don't get in a ring and compete. You can just come to the gym, you can get in great shape, maybe do a little sparring, and have the skills without the head trauma.
Me?
Like you. So she comes to the gym, she doesn't compete. And she enjoys being here, she has lots of friends here. And that's another great and fantastic thing about boxing, is it's a big community. That's the right word, community. I made some fantastic friends through boxing. She has some great friends through boxing. My other kids, they have friends here. And I've got friends outside this gym that I met because of boxing. So I hope this video is informative. And if you want to see some specific things, leave some comments in the video. I'll think about doing some other videos on maybe a little more intermediate stuff beyond the very basics. And then, I don't know, you got anything else you want to add? All right. So I'm gonna cut it short here. We're coming up on 25 minutes. So thanks for watching. Leave some comments if you want to learn some additional things. Hopefully nothing too advanced, because I don't want to get into really advanced stuff, but boxing is for everyone, and that's the message here. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Can we record them?
What's that?
Yeah, whatever.